Okay, number 4 is a question from Math 120, and it's when you did infinite series, geometric series. These are actually infinite geometric series. Now, granted, you can do it a variety of ways, and I'll write down what I mean by that. R1, if I were to look at that, looking at, I'm going to write down as a rational number, 54 over 100. They are rational, by the way. What's the next one going to be? 54. And if I saw the patterns 54, 54, 54, 54, keep repeating itself, I get something like this over here. Let me just count it up. All right? And then, 54, and you had 1. Oh boy, how many? 2, 4, 6. I have a tough time with that, by the way, counting it up. And what I'd recommend do is, factor something out over here. So R1, I'm going to factor out 54 over 100. And what do you get there? You get 1 plus 1. And then what do you get there? Factor out 100, so you get 100 on the bottom. What's the next one going to be? 1. What do you get there? Let's take a look at it. I factor out 100, so you're going to get this over here. Let me make sure I counted up right. So now I see it, and what I'll write down, again, I don't recommend doing it this way, but it's okay to do it this way. We'll get the same number, by the way. Times, and this is geometric. I want to find a geometric, if I have 1 plus x squared plus x cubed plus yada, 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 it goes on forever. This is going to be 1 over 1 minus x, provided the absolute value of x is a proper fraction. All right? So I'm looking at this thing over here, and I'm wondering, does it follow that form? It does. And what do I write down over here? It's going to be 1, 1. And what's the x in this case over here? It looks like 1/100th. All right, I'll put this over here. So minus 1/100th. Right, I'm going to go through some arithmetic on this one. And the reason I want to write down the answer to it. So again, this is R1. R1 is 0.54. Repeats forever. Let's just do it. Multiply the top out. What do you get? 54. It's relatively simple. Multiply the bottom out. What do you get? You get 100 minus 1, which is going to be 54 over 99. All right? That's R1. I want to go to the key and look at it, and I see that right over here. All right? Now, someone says, what else could you do with that? You could reduce it, and I would recommend reducing it. Now, one way to reduce it is noticing both of those numbers are divisible by 3. And 3 goes into 54, let's see, 18 times. And 3 goes into 19, 33 times. What do I notice now? It's still divisible by 3. 3 goes into 18 6 times, and 3 goes into 33 11 times. Again, someone says, what's the best answer there? I think most teachers would say, 611 is the best answer. But there's nothing wrong with these answers. They're both the same thing. You're writing as a ratio of 2 integers, by the way. I'm going to do this one a little differently. And the reason that I don't really think that this is the appropriate way to do the problem. I'd go back to once, again, someone says grade school. In some grade schools, they teach students how to do this. And let me go through that with you. All right? So I'm going to erase this business over here. We're done with this problem. And I feel comfortable that I got that one right. I want to do the other one. All right? And I don't have the answer key there, but I'll look at it in a moment. And the other one is, I'm looking at R2. And R2 is 0.433 repeated. The first thing I would do is multiply both sides of that equation, or equality, by 10. So it's 10R2 equals 4.33. Then what I would do is I would multiply it by 100. Let me write that down for you. And that would be what? 433.33 repeated. So I have really, 2 equations and 1 unknown here. And let me just write it a little bit differently. And that's going to be 4.33 repeated. And the other one's going to be what? It's going to be 1,000. R2 is equal to 433.33. What am I going to do? I'm going to subtract it. So I'm going to take this one, subtract that one. What do you get? You get 990 R2. Again, I want to tell you what I did. I took this, I subtracted that. That's 990. Now I'm going to take this, subtract that, which doesn't look bad to do. It's going to be 429. What do you get here? R2, 429 over 990. Now, granted, someone's going to say, what are you going to do with that? I would leave it that way, to be honest with you. But what I want to talk about is that, I'm going to do something, maybe you think it looks crazy, but I'm going to divide through by 3. And let me make sure I can do that. Sum the digits together. 9 plus 2 is 11, and 11 plus 4 is 15. So both of those numbers are divisible by 3. Let me just go through that with you. 4, 2, 9, right? So it's going to be 1. That's 3. You get 12. That's 4. That's 12. You get 9, and you get 3. So 143. And 3 into 990 is going to be 330. I'm looking at that, and I'm wondering, is that divisible by some number? Let me take a look at it. And I'm going to say, let me put the 143 down first. 143 is not divisible by 3. Now, I know it's not divisible by 2 either, not divisible by 5, yada, yada, yada. Kind of looking at it. And I'm going to say, it looks like 13. I got to be careful here. 13 times, let's see, 10 would give you 130, right? Oh, look at 11. That's not so bad. So 13 times 11. Now, if I looked at 330, I would say, 13. Oh, no, let me do it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean 13. 33 times, well, I see 11 again. Whoops. 11 times 30. All right, let me write this down then. 143 is the same thing as 13 times 11. And 330 is the same thing as 11 times 30. What cancels? The 11. What do you get? 13 over 30. So I'm going to say 13 over 30, and this is going to be what R2 was, which was 0.433. The 3 3s are being repeated. But again, I'm of the opinion, if you wrote down 429 over 990, that would also be a good answer. If you wrote down 143 over 330, that would be a great answer. I think most teachers would agree that this is the correct answer to write down. This is reduced form. But I don't see these things as being bad. I see this as something you understood what you needed to do. Let's look at the key, though. What do I see? 13 over 30. All right? So let me repeat what I did over here. The first one, I did it differently than it was written over here. I did it by using a geometric series. The second one, they did a geometric series. I did it by a different method. You get the idea? I'm switching it around. Thank you.